Good morning, folks, and from all the veterans from Maynard, we appreciate seeing all the great crowd that we have here today, the dedication of the Veterans Hall of Honor. At this time, I would like to call up World War II veteran Ben Sofka to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand.
We ask you all to uncover and cross your heart.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. At this time, if I could have Father Proceedings of St. Bridget's Church to give us blessing. Uncover.
Morning. Let us pray. God of all nations, you are our strength and shield. We give you thanks today for the devotion and courage of all those who have offered military service for this country, especially for the boys of Maynard, the many of them who gave their lives, and we honor today with all their pictures and in this hall. For those who have fought for freedom, for those who have laid down their lives for others, for those who have borne suffering of mind or of body, and for those who have brought their best gifts to the times of need. God, in your love and mercy, we thank you for their lives, and especially we honor the vets who are with us today, and we thank them for all their service they gave for God and country. On our behalf, O God, many have entered into danger, endured separation from those they love, labored long hours, and borne hardship in war and in peacetime. God, in your mercy and love, we thank you for their lives. We ask today that by your Spirit encourage and heal those in hospitals or mending their wounds at home. Guard those in any need or trouble. Hold safely in your hands all military families and bring the returning troops to a joyful reunion and tranquil life at home. Give to us, your people, grateful hearts and a united will to honor those women and men and hold them always in our love and our prayers until your world is perfected in peace and all wars cease. Amen. Amen.
As we gather here today on Veterans Day, there's one thing that all veterans have in common. We all served in different wars, different conflicts, different branches of the service, but they all did one thing. And the thing they did is they took the oath. They took the oath to protect and stand up for the country. At this time, any veteran who would like to renew their oath may raise their right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. I will make this obligation freely, without any mental reservations or purpose or evasion, and that I will faithfully discharge the orders upon me which I am about to enter, so help me God. Thank you. And how about a round of applause for all you guys? To give you a little update what we've done here, as you see in the back wall here, is the Hall of Honor. These are all portraits of most except for 3 that we're still working on that have performed a supreme sacrifice for our country. These photos were all upstairs in the memorial room at the American Legion, which is closing. And we just didn't want these pictures go somewhere and not be seen. And it's been a project of ours for quite a while. And I would just like to thank the town of Maynard for embracing this project with us and getting this done, where these photos will be forever on display here at the town hall. At this time, if I could have Selectman Dave Gavin.
Thank you. On behalf of the entire Maynard Board of Selectmen, it's my humble honor to speak this morning and welcome you all to this very special ceremony. I'd like to recognize a couple of my fellow board members who are here today. Chairman Chris De Silva, who is in the back, along with Terrence Donovan, and a special welcome to Terrence, as he is a veteran of the United States Navy, and I'm proud to serve with him as well as Chris on the board. I also want to welcome all of the invited families of the fallen soldiers and all of our other honored guests for joining us this morning. Scripture tells us, greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Today we gather in honor to remember sons of Maynard who exemplified this passage. In many ways, these men we recognize today are no different in their dedication to our country than the millions of men and women who have raised their hand, as we just saw here, and vowed to defend our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, vowing further true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America. Each also took a sacred vow, an unspoken promise to each other, that they would never leave behind a fallen comrade on the battlefield. Every individual who has taken the formal vows and worn the uniform of the United States has entered a brotherhood and sisterhood of veterans, all of whom our country pauses to remember and honor on this, the 11th day of November. The relationship that exists between fellow veterans is a special one and is awesome to observe. Last December, my mother, Patricia, predeceased my father, United States Army Lieutenant Colonel Vincent Gavin. My father's a 30-year Army veteran, and thus his service to our nation earned him the honor of qualifying he and my mother to be buried on the hills overlooking our nation's capital in Arlington National Cemetery. Having attended her funeral at Arlington, I can testify that the honor and respect that is shown to the veterans who are buried there and to their families is beyond words. And this honor and respect is shared by the entire brotherhood of veterans we honor today. Given my ties to Arlington, I began to follow Arlington National Cemetery on Facebook. Each day, the Arlington National Cemetery Facebook page makes one simple statement: today I remember. The page posts a photograph of a deceased veteran's headstone, one of the 400,000 individual heroes buried on those hallowed grounds. The narrative below the photo tells the personal tale of that one individual soldier, sailor, Marine, or airman who happens to have some ties to that particular day on the calendar. It may be a birthday, a date of death, or perhaps the anniversary of a battle that the honored individual may have participated in during their service. Each story told is uniquely individual and personal. But but each story is uniquely American. Today, here at Maynard Town Hall, we are making our own statement. Today, we remember. Indeed, today we remember these 46 men, each man uniquely individual, but each man uniquely American, each with their own personal story to tell. What we do know is that each of these men left the confines of Maynard, Massachusetts, seeking to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to uphold that vow that I mentioned earlier that all veterans have given to our nation. They went to foreign soil to protect and defend the liberties of their beloved country, and in doing so, protecting the liberties of others as well. Sadly, they never returned home to their loved ones, friends, and neighbors. Without a doubt, we have always remembered. And now we will forevermore remember them with honor and glory here at Maynard Town Hall. We do so with heavy hearts and with a debt of gratitude that can really never be repaid. They'll be remembered forever not only by the residents of our small little town, but by all Americans, and especially by their fellow service veterans, Maynard. Our local veterans are now fulfilling that unspoken vow that all servicemen and women understand: to leave no man behind on the battlefield. And in the spirit of homecoming that is so special to the season of Thanksgiving that we are about to enter, they're doing just that today. They are indeed bringing their fellow veterans home. We shouldn't be surprised by this. They are, after all, their brothers and sisters in arms. They are indeed their friends. And as the Bible teaches us, no greater love has no man, but to lay down his life for his friends. May God forever bless these fallen soldiers, their families, and all veterans. May God bless Maynard, may God bless the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. At this time, we'll have State Rep Kate Hogan showing up just in time again, Kate.
Good morning, everyone. This is my outside voice because we have so many people in the corridor. I don't know, can you hear me? Sincere and heartfelt gratitude for all of you showing up here today to celebrate veterans. And to all veterans here today, thank you for your service. We are part of ceremonies being held across the Commonwealth and the country by a grateful nation to honor all those who have made our freedoms possible. And sometimes we can take that for granted. As of last year, Massachusetts ranked first in the nation in veterans programs and services, offering nearly 70 in total. Honoring our veterans and their families with legislation is a proud November tradition now in the Massachusetts House of Representatives. I am proud of Massachusetts for leading the nation in the depth and breadth of services, but please understand, we can never do enough, and we should continue to work as hard as we possibly can, both on the local, the state, and the federal level, to make transitions easier than they have been for those of this generation. We can never fully repay the members of our armed services for what they have endured, but as they have been willing to invest in our future, let us be willing to invest in theirs, and let us never forget why it is appropriate to do so. I joined my colleagues in the House of Representatives this year to pass the Stolen Valor Act, which criminalizes falsely representing oneself as a veteran or a recipient of a specific military honor in order to receive money or payment. It is punishable by a fine of $1,000 and possibly imprisonment. The House also passed bills related to stealing and damaging veterans' graves and inappropriately removing commemorative American flag representing service in the military. And under legislation passed this week, Purple Heart recipients would have free access to state parks, forests, and reservations. After their military service is done, some veterans have left and come home with post-traumatic stress syndrome and severe brain injuries. This can lead to drug or alcohol abuse and in some cases, crime. Instead of sending them to jail, Massachusetts has now created the new Veterans Treatment Court, and one has opened this week in Middlesex County. In the military, it is said, leave no one behind, and providing these services ensures that these veterans who come home and end up before the court get the services they need to fulfill that mission and to prevent incarceration or jail. We can't afford to leave any veteran behind, especially those suffering the invisible wounds of war. So let us reflect today on what has been given, what has been protected, and what has been sacrificed by each generation of American servicemen and women. And let us commit, as I say every place I can and at every event that we service, pay tribute to our veterans. Let us commit to an America worthy of the service and sacrifice of our veterans. Please never forget. Please never break faith. God bless our veterans. God bless this great Commonwealth, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. At this time, Soren Nelson of the Maynard Boy Scouts will read the Gettysburg Address.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate portion of that field as a final resting place for those here gave their lives to that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggle here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they fought here, have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
At this time, we'll have the singing of My Buddy, sang by Sam Jones. Sam?
Life is a book that we study. Some of its leaves bring a sigh. There it was written, my buddy, that we must part, you and I. Nights are long since you went away. I think about you all through the day. My buddy, nobody quite so true. Miss your voice, the touch of your hand. Just long to know that you understand. My buddy, your buddy misses you. Buddies through all of the gray days, buddies when something went wrong. I went alone through the gray days, missing your smile and your song. Nights are long since you went away. I think about you all through the day. My buddy, nobody quite so true. Miss your voice, the touch of your hand. Just long to know that you understand. My buddy, your buddy misses you.
We will now have playing of the tap. We will now have the reading of the Maynard members, residents, who gave the supreme sacrifice in honor of our country. World War I, George A. Daly, Frank J. DeMars, Anthony J. Durkis, Frank C. King, Edward Miller, John R. Murray, Ralph I. Panton, Miles J. Turney. World War II, John J. Artis, William F. Callanan, Chester G. Carson, Alexander Chernak, Edward J. Chornicki, Edmund J. Crotty, Gordon T. Dole, Edward Donahue, John F. Gradisky, Jerry J. Greenall, Raymond J. Hanna, Reno Joknin, Bronislaw F. Kotis, Vincent P. Lebowitz Jr., Alfred J. Lally, Thomas F. Lanigan, Aubrey W. Laird, Charles Linkewich, Raymond A. Lodja, Frank J. Novick, William J. O'Toole, William F. Palmer, World War II continued. Peter Popenick, Frank J. Riley Jr., John J. Giscardi, Frank B. Spence, James M. Tobin, Stanley Tommel, John W. Kawitz Jr., John N. Bellino, Adolph Wallach, Eno O. O'Toole, Eno O. Watu, George A. Whitney, Korean War, James Rodway, Vietnam War, Robert B. Embro, Albert D. Foster, Leo J. Horan, Afghanistan War, Brian J. Ouellette, that completes the names of the 46 service members who performed the supreme sacrifice for what we have today here in our nation. At this time, I would like to thank Jason Foley, who's not here today, who helped me build the shelving for these photos, Andrew McLean, Becky Mosca, for their help in getting this project done, along with Veteran Service Agent Wayne Stanley. Thank you, folks, for everything that you did. Thank Gallery 7 and Nason Street Maynard for the wonderful job they did in refurbishing all these photos. It took a long time. They had to be very, very careful with them, and they just did a phenomenal job. And these photos will be here forever and ever, so these people will never, ever be forgotten for their services to their country. At this time, if I could have Ed Wasick up here and Nicole Cowan to present Ed with the American Legion Auxiliary is going to present Ed with a check to further his endeavor on getting the Vietnam-era Veterans Memorial downtown Maynard.
Hi. On behalf of the American Legion Auxiliary, we would like to present you with this check for $500 for your efforts.
Thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you so much, Nicole, for this check. The town of Maynard, the businesses, the support has been overwhelming. Our goal was to reach 5,000. This will bring us within a couple hundred of that goal, and I'm sure that with this effort, we'll reach the goal and have that memorial dedicated a year from now. Appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
We will now end today's services with the singing of our national anthem by Grace Doyle. Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
In ending our ceremonies today, there are some veterans that can't be here today for whatever reason. It may be a neighbor, it may be an uncle, grandfather. Do yourself and them a favor today. Knock on their door. The biggest thing a veteran loves is a thank you. That's all they ever ask for. They don't ask for medals, they don't ask for recognition, but a thank you goes a long ways. So knock on your neighbor's door, give your grandfather a call, or someone you know that can't be here today, and thank them. Thank you all. That's the end of the ceremony.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace